I had the chance to sit down with Bombay-born Canadian kitchen designer Naushad Meridia. Operating out of Toronto, Canada, Naushad has a background in architecture, interior design, and kitchen design. The following is a portion of our conversation where Naushad and I talk about his various kitchen projects. I'll be interrupting along the way to highlight some information that I think is really valuable, especially if you're thinking about doing a kitchen renovation.
I will show you some of the important points functionality wise, and there's a lot of thought process. I mean, if you look at this stove on both sides, I have provided drawers. I always like to add some drawers, whether it's three or four or six, maybe. This is one of the points I always tell my clients, and I let them know that it's better to have a drawers, set of drawers, or maybe just one cabinet with three or four drawers.
The more drawers, the better. I also always encourage clients to have as many drawers as possible, but I will caution you this. Make sure that you have a plan for all of those drawers and that they don't become a big catch-all for all the random stuff in your kitchen that doesn't have a home. It is important that you have one space that is a catch-all. We all need one, but you don't need to have 3 or 4 of them in your kitchen. So really go through and plan out how you're going to use that space. Add more drawers if you need to, but just do have a plan. This is a fairly small kitchen.
Yes, it's a condominium
And
kitchen. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, there is everything you need here in this kitchen. This peninsula, is that like a pass-through or is it a true peninsula?
It's a true peninsula. So the entry
Oh,
is
right.
only one side in the kitchen. And if you look the
Beauty.
windows, like the kitchen is facing towards the window. So there's a Christmas tree, and that's where the sitting is there.
Oh, I like how you did the column too.
Yeah, so that's a pantry basically.
Oh, is it? Nice. Okay.
But the access for this pantry is from the outside. Now, let me tell you, Mark, this is my own kitchen.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So, of course, I mean, the reason is I want to show you my own kitchen as well, because I made my own kitchen to as a display also. So I have a lot of guests, friends coming to my place,
Okay.
and they just say, "Wow, Naushad, this is what we like it." But I show each and everything that why there are two drawers. If you look at this peninsula, it has two drawers.
Right. I have a question about the corner base cabinet here. Is that a true corner or does that pantry go into there?
And there's a pantry going inside.
I love it. I love it.
So there is no lazy Susan in this. It's just a shelf, but there's a cutout in the shelf
There's a
because
cutout,
that
right.
pantry, which you look at the outside, it's going all the way from ceiling to the floor.
Yet another inspiring way to do a corner cabinet. You all know how much I love them. Well, I don't love corner cabinets. I love coming up with ways to design them so you don't have to use a run-of-the-mill cabinet with a lazy Susan or some other type of mechanism. As great as those things are, by having his pantry come down through the back and having shallow shelves in the front for easy access, this is a great way to do it. If you're looking for more ways on how to design a functional corner kitchen, check out this video here.
The two drawers I was talking about, those are quite deep, like
Yeah.
they have a nice height inside, so you can keep your big size pots and pans. One of the questions I get always from the clients that how about where do we keep our pots and pans? I suggest them that instead of three drawers, you can think about having two drawers. And like drawers, they really helps you.
I like the detail with the panels, wall cabinet and the base cabinet, the
Yeah,
side gable there.
yeah,
That's a nice little touch,
yes.
for
Small,
sure.
small details.
I want to highlight the fact that little small details make a huge difference in a kitchen design. Yes, it has to be functional and you have to have all the counter space and the storage and on and on and on, but it's these fine little details that separate kind of an average kitchen to something that's above average in my opinion. Although some of these details don't make the kitchen more functional, they do add just that little bit that gives it that beauty.
This is one of the kitchen I would like to show you. If you look at the fridge and the microwave, I always like to have a microwave as close as to the fridge, because 90% of the time you use a microwave, especially when you're opening the fridge and you have
Mhm.
something left over, you want to heat up and then start eating. So that's where most of the time you use the microwave. So I always think that rather than walking from one side of the fridge to going to the other side, why not plan in such a way that it's nearby your fridge?
I just like the way you did that corner. So you have the pantry,
Yeah.
fridge, and then you kept the depth, right?
So there are two different depths. It's in and out. The cabinet above the microwave, those are only 18 inches deep.
18? They look like they're deeper than a regular, 12-inch
Yeah. Oh, yes,
cabinet.
yes.
So,
Those are
yeah,
not
that's what
standard
I
depth.
was picking up on. That's very good.
Yeah. I would have just done a wall cabinet, but I thought maybe like have full cabinets on that
Yeah.
wall on that corner. From day one, this client they always told me that Naushad, make sure you give us a lot of storage. So
Right.
I was like, let's utilize that space.
And just again, like another little detail is the fact that you just brought the molding above the fridge. It's very simple. It's very clean. So
Yeah,
I love it.
personally, I don't like to have leave a lot of space between the fridge and the upper
Oh,
cabinet. So I like to make it as flush or as close as possible. Those panels, they are on just a regular L brackets. So in
yeah.
future, if you have a fridge which is maybe an inch or 2 inches taller,
Yeah.
you just have to
Yeah.
remove those brackets and you can just fit it.
Easy. Something that doesn't get talked about a lot is this point of future proofing some parts of your kitchen, and the fridge being one of them. One of the appliances that you'll likely change in your lifetime is your refrigerator. You do this by adding moldings that you can remove to make that space larger. You can also do this with ranges, you can do this with a variety of appliances, but thinking about future proofing is a pretty cool idea.
This is again my kitchen now. If you look at the cabinets, the brown cabinet, the wood finish cabinet, in my kitchen, I had nothing to display. The back panel of this open cabinet is just a matte black finish.
That was my next question. That looks really good.
Yeah, it looks sharp,
Yeah.
and it's just like anybody comes, they say, "Wow,
Yeah.
this
I
is like." It's
I can
not
see that.
typically just box cabinets,
Yeah.
so it's better to add some detail. So basically, it's all about detailing.
Little details. Yeah.
It's balanced on each side. So
Yeah.
on left and right, you have the taller cabinets, and in center, you have those four doors, a little bit shorter, right?
Yeah.
So
Lots of landing area, lots of prep
yeah.
space. Very good. I was quite pleased not to see any over-the-range microwaves in any of the pictures Naushad sent to me. However, I know that he does use them, and I've used them in the past as well, but I did have to ask the question just so I could get another designer's perspective.
Over the range microwaves, I would say 90% of my kitchens are range use. Over the range microwave, I've hardly done any projects, maybe five or six. One of the reason is over the range microwaves. First of all, they are quite bulky. I know there's a microwave which is quite slim, I think at 9 or 10 inches
Yeah.
high. I always get a complaint from the client saying that over the range microwave they are not as efficient in terms of ventilation. I say them, like just go with a specific range hood and have a separate microwave. One of the other reason is when you're using your stove and a second person wants to use a microwave.
Yeah, you're in the way.
Yeah, yeah. So I always prefer to have a microwave on its own separate location.
I like what I'm looking at here. What is this?
This is just a dead corner, I would say. If you want to park your appliances, then you just park in this corner garage. It makes your kitchen very neat and clean because that corner. For sure, we do get this kind of kitchen where there is no option. You cannot do anything. You cannot move your appliances further out because of some limited space. If you don't want to show all those clutters, all those things outside on your counter, you can just keep it inside, close the door, and then it's done.
I'll tell you three things I love about this. One is the pocket door. I think that's the best way to do that. I love the detail with having that outlet built into that little false panel
Yes,
there. That's excellent. And the fact of the matter is, you have that space anyway. So
yes,
you just leave it open without a door. Well, of course, it's not like the space is there, but why not make it look pretty
yes.
when it's not in use and functional? And it just adds a
Yep.
little bit of like, oh, that's interesting. Did you see so and so's kitchen? Like they have this really cool thing. I love that about this. This is really just those interesting details. I like.
So this is one of the kitchen. If you look at the appliances, the fridge and the wall oven and the built-in microwave. If you look at the space, there is an open space between those two appliances. There's a coffee machine. Instead of having a lot of pantries everywhere, why not to give a little bit of open space with a counter? Not only for keeping your coffee machine and all, but also when you're using your oven or microwave, when you have those cookie trays or whatever,
Mhm.
it's better to have a counter space, a landing space to
Yes.
keep it somewhere, right? Rather than you turning all the way and going on the other side where you have the cooktop. Landing space is also very important, especially when you have your ovens.
Yeah.
So this
I
this
agree.
was there were two thoughts: landing space, and also they can keep a coffee machine
Coffee machine.
between that opening.
This is a basic guideline, but one that should never be overlooked, and that's making sure you have proper landing area for the things that you need landing area for, specifically your oven and your range top. If you don't have landing area for those things, you can find yourself in trouble. The fridge, not necessarily, because like I said before in other videos, rarely are you taking something out of the fridge and looking for a place to put it down so you don't freeze your fingers off. But something out of the oven is a different story. So plan through to make sure that you have proper landing area in the places that you need them.
Another kitchen where, if you look at the island, it's not just a straight island. If you look at
Yeah,
the sink, and then there's another portion where the stone is sticking out, getting close to that microwave.
yeah.
So that's where the dishwasher is. Unfortunately, I was not able to find another picture with the dishwasher,
Oh, okay, okay.
but this was a very complicated kitchen for the island. Like we spent a lot of
Sure.
times back and forth, especially for the island. We came up with this solution that why not we do step in and step out for the island. You use your sink, but the dishwasher is further outside, basically.
Further out, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I know doing a lot of designs over my lifetime, there's just some scenarios where you have to think outside the box and just come up with ideas that maybe you wouldn't think of just unless you sat down to think about them. If you know what I'm saying, brainstorm a little bit, talk it over with a designer, with a friend, someone else that has knowledge of kitchen design to come up with ideas for spaces that might be challenging or even not challenging. Maybe you just want something different. Push the envelope a little bit so that you can come up with ideas that really work to make your kitchen as functional as possible.
If you look at the sink, that's not like half and half sink. It's
Mhm.
kind of like 60/40 or maybe
All right.
65/35.
I'm going to just tell you up front, no matter which way you divide that sink up, I'm not a fan of any type of double sink.
You just like big jumbo sink,
I just like one big large sink.
one big sink. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, everyone has a preference. I personally feel that if it's a double sink, I feel maybe it should be 60/40 or 65/35 ratio,
Yeah.
because sometimes if I want to use a big pots and pans to wash it, I need that little bit bigger sink.
And I agree. If you have a double sink, one of those bowls should be as big as possible and the other bowl should be smaller. I think the best ratio is 100 to 0. Let's go to this one.
So this is just a kitchen, which is, I mean, just a dark black kitchen.
Yeah. I got to ask you a question. The range against the wall. Tell me why.
So there was a technical reason.
Okay.
That wall was a concrete wall. We were thinking to move that stove on the left hand side
Okay.
and to have those four drawers on the right hand side. But there was a technical reason for the wires for the stove.
Okay.
So we had some limitations, so we had to stick where the stove was.
Okay.
I personally like counter landing on both side of the stove, but like sometimes you just have to respect the the site
Yep.
condition.
Naushad and I both know that having a range against a wall like that is definitely a no-no. So I had to pry a little bit because I knew there had to be some circumstance, some reason that forced him to make that decision. It's good for us to understand that sometimes there's no way around it. You have to make the best of a poor situation. And in this case, having the range against the wall was the only option for that kitchen.
Okay, so this is the project I would like to discuss with you about. If you look at this kitchen, we already saw a picture of this kitchen where there was a built-in microwave, fridge, and an opening in between. There was a ducting done. If you look at, there's a pantry after the dishwasher. So it was a duct. It was a HVAC duct.
Yep.
And client wanted as big as kitchen. I mean, all the way to the window, which you see on the extreme.
Right.
This was the biggest challenge in one of in this kitchen, because that move the duct was not that easy, right?
No.
So if you look at the space, the stove, the sink, it was a single small sink.
Yeah.
There was hardly any landing space or workstation, I would say.
Mm.
If you look at the stove, it's facing against the wall. So one of the biggest complaint, the client said that the left burner, they always had a problem, especially with the bigger pots and pans or
Yeah.
frying pan where they have those long
Handle.
handles.
Yeah.
They always had an issue using the left side burner. So they always use the right side. They said, now Shad, do whatever you want, but we want stove somewhere else, or maybe at least in the center. So we
Yeah.
have counter space on each side. Plus, the counter space was too small between the sink and the, I mean, on sink sides. I came up with a solution like how the duct can be moved out and what can we do in order to maximize the space. This is the proposed design with the 3D
Okay.
view.
Yeah.
It's a rendered, it's a color 3D view. So
Yeah.
I always like to do presentation with color 3D view
Yeah. Definitely.
because that gives the client at least 90% of the idea that how the kitchen is going to look like.
Yeah, and this is
This is the
the
kitchen
kitchen.
done afterwards.
Wow, what a difference.
Yeah, if you look at this, the counter is going all the way to that window. There's a
Yeah,
pantry. There's a big pantry on the at the end. They were so happy because not only they got bigger kitchen, but they also got a lot of space, like a lot
yeah.
of drawers. I mean, and also the counter space, the workstation, the landing space around the sink and the cooktop.
It's so interesting to see these before and after transformations and to hear from the designer their thoughts about the kitchen and the design process.
This is a kitchen not done by me. It's a builder's kitchen. This was on the second floor. There is a peninsula which was dividing the kitchen into two parts. So the
Mm,
other side where you can see there is a mirror and there's a big
yeah,
door.
window, door,
That
yeah.
was the dining area. And then the client had a small kitchen. They wanted just to open. They
Yeah.
they didn't want it to have two separate things because this minimized the layout of the kitchen. The storage was quite minimum because of this
Mhm.
peninsula. This was a little bit challenging for us, but then we came after multiple options in the design. We came up with a nice open concept kitchen. Like there was no peninsula. If you look at the other slides, the dining area, and if you look at the bar stool,
Yeah,
which was for the peninsula.
okay,
They didn't wanted any bar stool because they had some seniors in their family, so they
sure.
were like the bar stool is no use for them, so they just preferred a dining area, right?
Let's look at the reveal.
So it's fully open where we had a pen. So where, if you look at the dishwasher, it's a panel dishwasher, and that's where we had that peninsula. We just totally removed that dishwasher and peninsula, and we moved the sink towards the wall and the dishwasher on the left side. Where we had a
Yeah,
fridge, that fridge is out from
yeah,
that wall, and we moved the cooktop to that wall, and the fridge is on the extreme left hand side with a built-in microwave and oven. Now if you see, it's more open,
yeah.
it's more welcoming since this kitchen was on the second floor. So if you look at, there's a staircase on the left side.
Yes, yeah,
So that's where you have all the guests, friends and families, maybe yourself. When you come up, you want more open concept,
yeah.
and they had that nice dining table set in that kitchen.
Wow.
Also we were able to achieve some extra storage by giving that nice small
Pantry.
pantry. If you notice the left panel, they don't have the handles,
Right.
so they are just a false panel doors because there was a duct. So we were
Yeah,
not able to do anything, right? So
yeah,
we decided to, instead of just leaving it drywall, we
yeah.
decided to have a false panel.
Have a panel. That makes sense. What a transformation. This is
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, look at that.
And
Wow.
also the sink has a drawers at the bottom. So this is one of the questions I get from a lot of clients, how we can improve the space under the sink.
All right, I'm going to take it from here. To figure out the best way to design your sink and get the most out of that space, check out this video. It breaks down, at least what I think, is the best way to design a very functional sink cabinet. You won't be disappointed.